Somebody else snag Ben's stock's probably over at A to Z Sync, wherever they are. They're in this building.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Poly Booth, the Auto Hub show here at the Poly Booth. And it's very funny. We're NADA 2022, or as I like to call it, the Giant Car Dealer Hug Fest.
Yes.
You know, I have not seen more people hugging like this in my life. And there's a TV commercial I've seen where people are actually, there's a song in the background, we're free, and they're hugging and they're walking up to strangers. So it's a very nice thing to see.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
And it's actually nice to see what people look like without masks.
Yes.
Or over 4 inches tall on a Zoom call like we've always been on. I am here with Glenn Pasch. And he is from PCG Digital. Quite the company, quite the personality. A man of many talents and many things. And Glenn, please say hi and tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm Glenn Pasch, CEO of PCG Digital. We are a full-service advertising digital marketing firm, and we also do a lot of consulting for automotive, for the vendor side as well as the manufacturer side and large dealer groups as well.
Terrific. And I just mentioned to you a couple of minutes ago that there's so many different variations of a theme here. Luckily, there's only one Poly and one multiple insurance connector out there, so that's kind of good. But what makes your business special? What makes it different? And I won't use the term better because a competitor will come and say, "Oh, I'm better because I've got, my acronym."
I think in terms of any marketing that you're doing, digital marketing, it's not commoditized, but in some people's minds, what is the difference between SEO from one to the other, or paid search or social media advertising? It really comes down to the partnership. I really think that's what dealers are looking for, someone who has their back. They don't have to worry about it. They come back to them and they're very transparent in their reporting. And here's what worked, here's what didn't work. And then for us, our company, because of our consultative practices, we also can discuss different products with our dealer partners that we don't sell, we don't have skin in the game, but they can come to us and say, we're thinking of changing CRMs, who do you recommend? We're thinking of changing website platforms, who do you recommend? Poly, right? We just talked about that at our award ceremony. Bringing all of these products out to the market as a third party versus listening to your sales pitch. We review these products every single year. This year we reviewed 55 different products. We did a live stream talking about them. So thinking of the consumer reports for these products, dealers come to us. So that's a benefit for our clients because we can connect. And then lastly, because we are partners and know or have friendly partnerships with all of these vendors, I had someone call me up the other day and said, my implementation of the website is dragging a little bit. And I said, hang on, I can call the CEO and get something moved and fixed quickly. So for our clients, that's a big benefit.
That's a recurring theme that I'm seeing here is it's friendly competition. I'm talking to a lot of people who are saying, well, they're pretty good. And actually, they do this better than I do. However, blah, blah, blah. And I've seen very little of anybody, even as I walk by and listen to things of somebody saying, yeah, you don't want to go to them.
Well, we've never thought of building our business carrying someone else down. That's just not a good strategy. I remember early on, we also host 2 large events, marketing events twice a year. And so people would say, why would you have other people who do what you do there at the same, aren't they competitors? And I said, there's, whatever you want to say, 15, 16,000 franchise dealers, and how many independent dealers? I said, if they had 1,000 and I had 1,000, we'd all be doing cartwheels down the street, and there's still tons for everyone else. So really, it's understanding that we've had times where we say to them, they're a better fit for us, or we can't work with them because we already work with someone in the market, so we try to be as exclusive as we can. So I have friends who run agencies. If I can't do the work, I'm going to point them to them because I know they'll be taken care of. And I'd rather that for someone than to say, oh, we're better, they stay and come to us. Because if I win business that way, someone will do that to me and that means that person is swayed by bad mouthing someone else. Someone will eventually bad mouth us, and I'd rather not do that.
And it's very funny because we in the car business, way back, that's what we did. We just said you don't buy Ford because they're found on road debt. Sorry, they're not. You don't buy this and that, and it's a little different now. And I mean, in all my years in dealerships, somebody said, "Why do I go to you versus that guy down the street?" And I usually start with, "Well, if you like me, you deal with me. If you don't, that's fine."
Right.
I try to provide better service. I try to provide a better experience, but ultimately, it's who you like.
Well, I think it's also how you portray yourself in the market. So my brother and I, early on when we built the business, we wrote, we spoke at events, we answered people's questions. We found that our philosophy is helping and doing the right thing. And I had a dealer group come by yesterday and said, "I'm here because I followed you for years and I always think you try to do the right thing. Can you help me?" I said, "Sure." And I've had people sit down with me at an NADA, and they said, "Well, I have to choose between these different, programs because they're in my manufactured program." And I would spend an hour, and they said, "I can't believe you spent an hour talking to me about something that has nothing to do with you selling your own company." I said, "Well, you didn't ask me about my company. You asked me about this. If you want to talk services, I can talk that, but you asked me this." And I think the industry as a whole is really just saying, this is what we do. If we can do it for you, awesome. If not, there are other people, and that's okay too, because I want people who want to work with me.
Well, there's a lot to be said about having a personality out there. It's become such a big, byword of internet personality. And I teased Don Brady about that yesterday because I'm not a celebrity. And I said to him, I said, "It's really the big thing is you draw business because people recognize you. People know what you stand for. Like you said, you spoke at conferences. You have your 2 conferences, which I'd love to know about the one you got coming up in May. But when people walk by and say, 'Hey, there's Glenn Pasch, one of those 2 guys. Hey guys, how are you?' means a lot. It gives your company.
Yeah, but you have to deliver on it because there also is a lot of people who with podcasts and with ease of going live. There's a lot of people out there now doing it, and that's great. But eventually, you have to deliver on it. You have to deliver on your promise. It's no different than what we tell dealers. You can market to your blue in the face how great you are. What do you need? You need testimonials from your customers validating your marketing thing, or else it's just a marketing thing. So I could go online and talk to them blue in the face how great I am until it's when other people start talking about you and recommending you because of what you deliver, then that's when you win.
So what you're saying is it's not the old story of any publicity is good publicity.
Well, it can be, but eventually, people talk. As big as you think this industry is, it's not that big. And if all of a sudden people go, little smoke and mirrors over here, or, they're not really connecting over here, I think that you have limited bandwidth or time to fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Well, it's
getting
funny,
less and less.
No question. And we're this little podcast from Canada, and I'm walking around here, and this year there's not a lot of big Canadian contingent. Don't know why, but I see all these people I've only seen online. I've only seen on LinkedIn. And they go, "Jeff," and it's like, and then you recognize them and you say hello. So tell me about your conference coming up in May.
Sure. It's called the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference. It's being held in Napa, May 20th to the 22nd to the 25th. It's a Sunday through Tuesday. It's a little different because this is a very large trade show. We are focusing on marketing and strategies for dealers. It's more of we call it a 3-day conversation. So there's about 250 people, probably about 140, 150 dealer employees, and we limit that size. So we sell out every year. Then you have another 100 of staff and sponsor and people of that nature. But what's great about it is you get an opportunity to have conversations. So if you hear someone speak or you see a panel, you're going to have lunch with that person. You're going to see them later on when there's cocktails, and you'll see them tomorrow. And so you can have this ongoing conversation and say, I was thinking about what you said yesterday, or I sat in someone else's, and I have another question for you. And you get to really meet the people behind the products. You also get to meet the people behind dealerships. So dealer to dealer, you find other people who are in your same position. It's different if you're going to a 20 group, let's say. There's a single point store, but you have a 10 store group. Your issues might be different. Here, you're meeting other people who have 10 store groups, 20 store groups. You're meeting the people who are the decision makers, both on the vendor side and the dealer side. So a lot of great conversations, and people really like it. And we always are trying to push the envelope and talk about way more progressive things, or that next thing that's coming down the pipe, versus just, how do we do X, Y, and Z, which is okay, but we want to talk about what's happening now. What are things that are confronting dealers that maybe no one's talking about yet?
Well, things are certainly evolving really quickly. I mean, I'm sure you guys, PC Digital's been around since 2015, right?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
And so what prompted you guys to open up that, or to create it?
Well, my brother started it. He was in marketing, but more direct mail and things like that. And he saw the move towards online. And so we started strictly as an SEO company. That's all we did. And it was him. And I joined him probably 3 or 4 years later, because he was helping me launch a company. So he was saying, you got to have a website, you got to blog, you got to speak. And I actually spoke at Digital Dealer before I joined him on customer service, and why customer service is important, because that's what I taught. And I laugh. I go back and look at that presentation. I'm like, oh, we're still talking about that. And so we just started in that. We saw a need, and we just built our business through speaking, writing, and we evolved our product suite to include paid advertising, that whole suite, social media advertising, email marketing, direct mail, all of that to help from a full service. Plus connect what you're doing offline to what you're doing online to what you're doing in the store. This whole cycle of what we call connected marketing.
Well, it's very funny because the big topic versus pandemics over maybe, but that was a great opportunity for digital operations. Obviously, everybody can be rushing to many of them, and there are people that have done very well, which maybe not. It's like there's salespeople that shouldn't be selling cars because you can't get a car. They're doing very well, but what we're finding is that one term you just mentioned that's been around forever is customer service, and it's a bit of a cliche, but they discovered that when you're haven't got somebody sitting in front of you, and you can't be really super personable, like I always did very well, just being a kind of wacky guy, all of a sudden you really have to do it right.
Well, I think you can now, because with video, you can have that communication. But I think it's what the pandemic, depending where you were in the States. Some states were more open than others. I was in the Northeast in New Jersey, where everything locked down. So if you wanted to sell, you had to figure out a way to do it over the phone, through email, through using, a lot of people, latched on a digital retailing tool without really thinking it through. But they had to. The key is now, what did we learn? What changed in your process that sped the process up, eliminated time dragging on and on and on? And so now that we're back face to face, what can I still apply to save customers time? Because even if you've changed a couple things and you're back face to face, those people who bought over those 18 months online in that very fast pace, okay, let's do it over the phone. Come in, that signature, here's your car, leave. They're going to want that plus when that lease is up in 3 years, or when they're coming back 4 or 5 years from now. They're going to say, that's what I want, faster. So it's not so much about online, it's about giving them the ability to do whatever they want to online, and then really figuring out your process. Can I pick up where they left off when they get here? It's all about time. It's removing steps. And it's not that you have an hour somewhere that says, oh, it's an hour that I have this. This is where it was. It's 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. Can I switch? And so you have products like A to Z Sync that's in this hall, or Fuse Tech from the Walter Group that did this, where you're starting to move to a single point of contact. Why can't a salesperson do everything plus finance? Because it's just a better experience. And so everyone's starting to rethink, how can we speed up the process for the customer to make it easier for them, and it's a better experience.
Well, and these new digital retailing operations, we don't want to use the swear words that start with C, they're doing that, and they're not really dealing with specifically a person. They're going online, picking a car, they're getting their financing, and it's a pretty quick process. And it sounds like the dealers have to. You're right. They have to rethink that, because while F&I is a great profit center, they have to rethink how they're going to make money from there.
Well, but they do, and the thing is that everybody, we have a tendency to think, oh God, that those companies are killing it. But if you look at the volume, even if you look at franchise and all of the digital retailing, when we've studied it, less than 10% of the people are going all the way through. So there's not a large group. Let's stop kidding ourselves. I don't think there's a large group of people that want to buy fully end to end. They don't. I agree. They don't. They want to drive it still. What they do want is to save time. So if I can configure my payments to say, can I afford this, without having to give you my name, like leave, stop, just stop that. If I can get a value for my car without you and let me give you my name when I want to, or remove all of the forms. We've been preaching for a few years this idea of conversational commerce, right? So if you think about it, if I put my name on a form and send it to you, I go back to my life. Now, what do you have to do? You have to chase me. Yeah. Why, if I say check availability, why do I have to fill out a form? Why can't I just talk to somebody in your store through chat? If I want to get a trade value, why can't I talk to your used car manager? If I have a question about this car, why can't I talk to you? Like now, think about that. If you really look at your analytics, and we study this all the time, even if you're trade-in tool, I don't care what trade-in tool, trade pending's right over there. Great tool. But if you track how many people click that button and how many people submit, there's a gap. Whatever that gap is, theirs is better than others. But let's say a dealer is looking at a trade-in tool and saying, I got 50, 100, 200 trade-in deals, and they're happy as hell. How many people started it and didn't finish? So now if you say, okay, even if it's 1,000, even if it's 500, you're saying I'm getting half of them. Wouldn't you want to talk to the other half? Yeah. Why wouldn't I have 500 conversations? And maybe they're high funnel, but I start conversations and they stay with me, versus what they're doing is continuing to chase dealers till somebody gives me an answer and I get a little bit from you and a little bit from you, a little bit from you, till finally I go to this person and now I'm prepped now to have a conversation. Why wouldn't I be that person first out? So that's where it is. It's you're breaking down the barriers of this. I have to have a name. I need leads versus conversations. If we start saying to ourselves, how many conversations do we have with our customers, not just on the phone, on our website? Because most of you good websites out here are getting 10, 15, 20,000 people on your website. How many leads do you actually get? Nobody actually thought about that to say, wait a minute, we're not staffing our online showroom like we staff our regular showroom. You have all these people who are looking out the window waiting for ups or waiting for people to come in, but yet you have all these people on your website raising their hand, filling out forms, or getting frustrated because they can't talk to somebody. And there's this disconnect. That's what I think people really need to understand. And our clients are starting to really embrace it. And they're going, holy goodness, I'm having all these conversations now. I'm setting more appointments. Well, duh.
Well, the funny part is, you mentioned this many visitors, this many leads, and how many of them are actually being contacted. A connection of mine, an online friend of mine, commented about how he went to buy a car, and he submitted leads. He submitted 10 leads to 10 dealers of the product he wanted in his area, because he didn't want to go far. He got 2 auto responses, 1 half-hearted email response, call me, and that was it. And then he expanded it. He ended up buying a car 200 miles away.
But think about that. That's just been our model of I need names so that I can follow up. But if you think about it, just common sense. I'm on a website. I'm engaged. Have a question. Got to fill out a form. Maybe I don't want to call yet because I just have a quick question. The fact that I have to now go find the number, find my phone, click, call, go through the tree to find somebody versus I'm on this page right now. Why can't I talk to somebody? And if I click this button and a chat pops up, why can't they know that I'm on this page? And they say, oh, I see you're looking at that, blah, 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 blah. Like, we have the technology. It's just we're not thinking that way. So, to your point, is that why can't I? Okay, I submitted my lead to you. I went back to my life. I'm now working. I'm having dinner. Now you're calling me. It's convenient for you, not convenient to me. And so that's why, if you're lucky, you're contacting half of them. But then once I start to contact half of them, maybe I get to a point which means half of them show up and I sell half, and everybody goes, man, my closing rate's 4%, 3%, 2%. I'm like, but what if you spoke to all of the people who had a question while they're on the website, because that's your showroom? So if you think about it, if I had 1,000 people in my showroom, would you let them wander around the lot without talking to them? Oh, if they're really interested, they'll come in and ask me a question. Or do you say, hold on, give me your name, sit here, and somebody will come back and find you in 2 hours? Like, it's that absurd. You go, that would never happen. It's happening every day on your website. Every day.
And so what we need is a virtual sales manager tower looking out the virtual window at the virtual customers that are on their site.
Yes, and there's some technologies now that are going to be able to do that. But even if you just said, wait a minute, we're removing all the forms. No more forms on the website. You click that button, you can go into configure it in the tool, but you don't have to give me your name until you're ready. Okay? Number 2 is all those other buttons you want, send them to somebody in your sales. Because you all have it. And there's not that many. When you really track, what if you had 100 people who had questions? Most dealerships have at least 10 people. You're telling me that they wouldn't want to have conversations with those people? Like, it's crazy.
But the salesperson will walk around the lot for 2.5 hours with somebody asking questions and not think anything about it. And do you know what the number one response that I've heard and I've seen and I hear about is when a dealer responds to that, whether it's quickly or a long time, because the customer's sending in questions about 10 cars. Who's this? I'm responding on the Corolla. Which Corolla? The gray one. Which gray one? I forget that one. Because it's been that long, even if it's 10 minutes. In my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong. Even if it's 10 minutes, you may have already lost the chance to engage him.
Well, if it was 10 minutes, you probably wouldn't. Somebody's probably still there. It's more the fact of just saying it doesn't happen like that. It's usually hours. Versus saying someone's on the website now, and you have a big button that says, ask me a question. Ask me anything. And you click that button and I talk to somebody in the store and they can see where you are and you say, hi, I'm Glenn. I see you have a question about the 2020, blah, blah, blah. What can I help you with?
By the way, can I use the ask me a question or do I have to pay royalties?
Whatever you need. All good.
I appreciate it.
But I mean that when you really think about that, because the dealers that have done that, yes, they get a lot more conversations and but they go, we're retaining those people because we're the only ones helping them. I know what they're asking me now, so I can answer those questions. Now I can follow up versus the only people I'll deal with is when you submit your name, and even then, it's after the fact.
Yeah.
Dealers who have embraced this are seeing such a huge lift in customer experience, customer retention, getting people in the door, selling more cars, having more, because they're maximizing and leveraging all the people who are on their website.
And, that's got to be even greater on used because, of course, we have more used. But on used, I think it's.
But it's just anybody. I mean, it's for service. Same thing. Just ask me a question. I mean, that is your online. We've said it for years. That's our virtual showroom. But we don't staff it. We're basically telling people who are on our website, we're not home. We're closed. We'll get to you when we want to. And that's where a lot of the website platforms are pivoting. And dealers are pivoting because they're going, wait a minute, they're right. And they're staffing it, be it your BDC, your salespeople, anybody. All of a sudden, you're going, we're closing more deals because we're treating them as serious customers, and we're making it easier for them to talk to us. And guess what? We're closing more deals. We're buying more cars. We're handling more service. We're retaining up. It's just a funny thing. And now it's still a hurdle for some well, we can't, who should do it? I'm like, well, what else are they doing? Because every time I go in a dealership, that's what dealers want, is busy. And they're trying to get them to be busy. Well, let's handle the people who are on our website.
And they, you know, some don't trust their salespeople to do it. Some think the BDC should do it.
No, I think I don't sure it's they don't. I don't think it's a trust thing. I think it's really nobody ever thought about it. That's all it is. It's not the BDC could do it better, because then you get into, well, they'll do, they won't, they don't. Who cares? Just say, I have people who have a question. Who should answer that button? If somebody clicks check availability, I want them to do it. If somebody has value trade, I want that person to do it. That's all you have to ask. And then say, great, keep your eyes on it. When you're not with a customer, have the chat feature up. Somebody, and you got the companies can do it where all of a sudden it'll alert you. It'll go ding, somebody's on your thing, answer the phone. And so if you think of chats like a phone call, salespeople will jump over the desk to get a phone call. That's chat. Chat is a phone call. Treat it that way. Like it's that basic. And once you do that, potential's amazing.
So what you're saying is keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
It's amazing. We love to make everything so much more complicated. Glenn, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a bit of a hike and to come over here, but
good.
It's great.
I see my friend out there, Jennifer Suzuki.
Hi, Jennifer.
She's the one who can. She's the master of this. So like she could be. She's the one who can also validate.
Would you like to guest on the Auto Hub show?
She is the master. So,
awesome.
Thank
you so much.
Appreciate it, my friend.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you. Great to meet you in person.
Yep. Glad to be here.